Here's a look at our swell that we're expecting on Friday morning. We can see not really anything too impressive. This is going to be a southwestern groundswell for most locations. Periods look good and everything. It's just that we're not going to see the highest heights, unfortunately. The biggest waves will be down near San Diego for Friday morning. Maybe 4-foot swells if you're lucky down there, but for the most part, everyone's going to expect to see 2 to 3 foot swell in the morning hours, and really we don't expect them to build throughout the day, unfortunately. Oxnard, you're another good location over there where you could end up seeing some stronger swell, maybe 2 to 3 foot, but again, that's still relatively light for you, especially compared to what we've seen throughout this past week. Like I was saying, we don't expect the groundswell to pick up throughout the day a whole lot. You might see some small changes, but again, for the most part, everything's going to stay relatively weak through Friday afternoon. The good news is that our winds are going to be pretty light throughout the day on Friday. This is Friday 10 a.m. We can see for the most part everyone's looking at pretty light winds. The exception is going to be Oxnard, where you could see 15 to 20 mile per hour Santa Ana winds. Everyone else, though, looking at pretty light winds across the board, basically all day on Friday. 5 to 10 mile per hour winds in the morning hours. Throughout the afternoon, we'll see them transition to variable, possibly no winds by the afternoon in a couple locations. So winds aren't really going to be a huge concern on Friday. It's mostly going to be the swell size that's going to prevent people from enjoying the surfing conditions just because of how small the swells are expected to be for Friday. Winds are going to really stay light throughout Saturday and even Sunday. We can take a look here. This is Saturday, 8 a.m. Not looking like a whole lot. Oxnard, you could see slightly higher winds there. But again, for the most part, that's still relatively light, about 10 to 15 mile per hour offshore winds. Everyone else looking at really under 5 mile per hour winds across the board for everyone else, and these are going to be offshore for the vast majority of us. So not expecting winds to really be a concern throughout the entire weekend here as we fast forward through Saturday. This is 3 p.m. and again, looking at light to variable winds across the entire area. That means we're not going to have any sort of wind swell whatsoever. We'll continue to see that westerly ground swell during the day on Saturday. Again, unfortunately, it's going to stay pretty weak, guys. We're not really expecting it to get all that strong. Again, down near the Mexican border is where we expect the ground swell to be the strongest, but I wouldn't call it strong by any means. We're looking at maybe 3 to 4 feet down there max. That's nothing compared to what y'all have seen this past week. So nothing too impressive in terms of ground swell. Everyone else is looking at 1 to 2 foot ground swell. Oxnard, you might be in the 2 to 3 foot realm, but again, that's not really anything compared to what you've seen this past week. So pretty unimpressive ground swell, and it's actually going to die down throughout the afternoon hours. I would get out there a little bit earlier on Saturday during the day if you do plan on surfing, where it's going to be just a little bit larger for you. So definitely go out there before noon on Saturday to catch the biggest waves. And conditions stay, for the most part, pretty much the same for Sunday. This is Sunday, 6 a.m., and we're looking at pretty much similar sized ground swell across the area. San Diego, 2 to 3 foot swell is expected. That's going to be where swell is the largest. Up and down the coast, 1 to 2 foot swell in most locations. West facing beaches will, as always, see a larger swell than south facing beaches. Oxnard, you could see potentially 3 foot swell if you're lucky over there. Now, the good thing about Sunday is that as we go throughout the day, we actually see that ground swell start to pick up. We're going to see a secondary ground swell build throughout the day as part of another event that could bring some pretty impressive swell starting next week. It'll pick up Sunday night, and we can see that as we go throughout the day. On Sunday, we see that ground swell really start to build, especially further off to the west. Unfortunately, near shore, we don't expect the swell to pick up that much. It might be noticeable, but again, it's still going to remain relatively weak throughout the entire day on Sunday. Winds, thankfully, are going to remain pretty weak. This is 8 a.m. on Sunday. Everyone's got offshore winds remaining pretty light across the board. Again, 5 to 10 mile per hour offshore winds Sunday morning, going throughout the day on Sunday. Winds remain unconcerning. Not really anything to worry about here. Anywhere between 0 and 10 miles per hour. Most people are going to be under 5 miles per hour. As we go throughout the afternoon, we'll see those winds transition into an onshore breeze. But again, it's going to remain pretty light, about 5 miles per hour in the strongest locations. So pretty unconcerning for the most part. Yeah, this is 5 p.m. and we can see that strongest area might be Venice Beach. Everyone else, though, is looking at 10 miles per hour and under offshore breeze. So again, winds stay light basically all weekend long. Swell is going to be pretty light all weekend long. The good thing is that the weather overall is going to be pretty nice. We'll have highs in the mid 60s each and every day, 70s possible for LA. Lows are going to be in the mid 40s. The sun's going to be out Saturday and Sunday. Friday might be a little bit cloudy, but all around weather conditions look pretty good for this weekend.